Welcome, everybody, to this special episode of Hear Me Out Podcast. I'm joined by the hosts, Pedro and Brooks BT, with a special guest, D. Pierce SSC, host of his own channel named after himself. How are you doing today, Pierce?
Excellent. How about you?
How are you guys doing, my co-hosts, Brooks and Pedro?
Wonderful.
Doing fantastic, man. It's been a whole 24 hours since I last seen y'all at the protest yesterday. Good to see you again.
It's great
Yes,
to
sir.
keep going to those protests and speaking at those rallies, trying to raise people's consciousness. But today we're going to talk about whether entertainers should be raising people's consciousness about the protests that are happening and about George Floyd and all these other injustices that are happening in our political system. Should actors and singers, even athletes, what should their role be? I'll start with our guest here, Pierce. What is your thoughts on entertainers and what their role should be during these times?
I think that this is funny because I was actually looking today at the history of the Black Panthers and some of the celebrities' kind of discussions during those times. And one of the funny things that I thought about with the author that I was looking at the time, they were saying that if the celebrities are putting this in terms of kind of like a personal, what would you call it, psychological context, that is wrong. And what is correct is to try to push it away from themselves and talk about the actual moment that is at hand and the people that are pushing through this moment. So I'll give you an example. There was a celebrity during the time that the Black Panther movement was kind of at its peak, and Black people were organizing, and they were more activists, more anti-war activists, as opposed to now, where Black people have kind of ceded a lot of their power to Paul saying, during that moment, I felt strong. I felt like my body could do like thousands of push-ups and thousands of jumping jacks, and I felt like I could run a mile, and I felt invigorated. Celebrities right now that want to increase brand and talk about how this movement makes them feel as a person, they're doing it wrong. You need to push that influence to the people, and remember to keep talking about the moment, the people that this is actually affecting. Because at the end of the day, Kylie Jenner, it doesn't matter whether she lives in a fascist America, but it does matter if America becomes a little bit more, what would you say, compassionate, because I guess rich people have a different world in a world that is less corporate, right? So I'm not saying that everyone that is rich stands to lose in a more generous society, but what I'm trying to say is that I think rich people always stand to gain in a fascist society, because it's like they're already rich, it doesn't matter. So the moment doesn't matter to you personally, so you shouldn't make it personal, Kylie Jenner or any celebrity for that matter. But when it comes to something that could have a wider societal impact, especially in such a conservative nation, America, you should push it to these Americans that want less conservatism, less fascism, state violence, state repression, things of that nature.
All right, who wants to follow up with that?
Do I go Brooks or should I go first?
You go ahead, bro.
One thing that I want to say is I definitely agree with what you're saying. It needs to be a lot less personal, and it's like a competition almost of who's hurt more by this, than the next entertainer, which is fine, right? But it becomes a bit too personal, like you're saying. It needs to be more about the actual movement. Like you have guys like The Weeknd, who's actually urging and the people he's affiliated with to put their money where their mouth is, right? Because only over a long period of time that this is actually going to sustain, right? So big shout out to the people that are actually doing things. I mentioned earlier with Brooks, you got the Jordan brand committed $100 million for the next 10 years for certain Black charitable organizations, and that's an extended period of time. That's a long-term thing. Now, I guess I'll save the rest of my commentary on that. I'll go ahead and let you have that one, Brooks.
So just off the back of what what Pierce was saying, there is one celebrity that I know of at least that is promoting radicalism anti-fascism, and that's No Name, who's been in the limelight recently because another rapper was offended because she called him out and all that. She regularly tweets out and advocates for people to read radical material. She's always saying, think deeper, think critically. She's someone who stopped rapping because she realized that she had a lot more work to do, and she's been called out for it before. So, she's someone who continues to just, I guess, do the right thing and put out radicalism and make sure that people think, further than just surface level thinking.
Have you guys noticed that the most rational, the people who are most awake to what's happening, the systemic problems, are more underground entertainers? Like, I want to name Immortal Technique and Boots Riley of The Coup. Why is it that these people don't reach a higher level of fame?
Why don't the underground guys reach a higher level of fame?
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that you know how they say you gotta sell your soul. Mm-hmm. There's like a certain pattern that a lot of mainstream artists end up going through, and that's not even just hip hop. That's any genre. You got. I'll give you an example, right? Like back in the day when Taylor Swift wasn't as big as she was, people thought her music was cool when she was more, like less known. And same with Bad Bunny. There's like levels to it. And then once you get higher up, they start to call you a sellout and stuff like that. You end up doing more things that the label is asking you to put in your music more. So you lose creative control when you got brands or when you got labels that are basically telling you what kind of music to put out. And I think the underground rappers that you mentioned, like Immortal Technique, Currency is another one, who had opportunities to go mainstream. They didn't do it because they don't agree with having less creative input on it, as well as with the politics that go into being a part of a major label. And I guess they figured, they got confidence that they don't need that exposure and have to risk selling their soul, quote unquote, to get that fame. So that's really why most of Killer Mike is another perfect example. Great, eloquent speaker, good rapper, but he never made it big because he didn't want to sell his soul for, wanted to have more creative control over what he was doing.
Yeah, I agree. They don't fit what the machine wants to see happen. They don't play the game. They don't play the politics. They rather just make it be about the music.
I'll mention one guy that I know personally. I'm not going to say his name because this conversation was probably in confidence, but what he told me was, look, the thing about artists, when you are signed to a label, the love in the music is different once you end up signing a deal and it's not 100% good for you, because 9 times out of 10, rappers are going to hastily, or artists in general, are going to sign deals without really reading the fine print and stuff like that. I don't want to get too far off topic, but...
Yeah, but just like how much would it deter from like their being in touch with what's happening?
I mean, we also have to remember too that they're in the entertainment business, and I think what people find enjoyable and artsy and entertaining in a society kind of reflects its values. And I mean, we have a society that's very focused on celebrity culture and consumerism, and I mean, we're a very kind of face value thinking type of culture. So I mean, Immortal Technique, I think he's trying to push ideas that are way too deep for a surface level thinking public. So there's a structural element to why these people don't succeed that is related to the fact that the ideas that they're pushing just aren't, congruent with a society whose values might differ wildly from that individual artist. And that also shapes preferences in the future, right? You'll have artists that are always down to push the bubblegum flavor of current American entertainment because there's a financial incentive. Yeah. But if you want somebody like, I really appreciated Lupe Fiasco's earlier work. I saw what he was trying to do. I didn't think that his music got so much better in the future as he progressed as an artist. But one of the things that I can definitely say that took him down was him trying to be more of a conscious rapper. And as somebody that has appreciated like people like Talib Kweli and Mos Def, I can tell you, I mean, just somebody that's appreciated that kind of music, throughout my childhood and growing up, there's been less appetite for that kind of shit, and that's unfortunate. I think that a more thoughtful American public, a more thoughtful, hell, even black community, or just people that appreciate rap in general, it would be nice if rap kind of went in that direction. But yeah, I don't want to also, push us too far off topic. Where entertainment plays in a sort of sense where we have a current moment in America, and entertainment can play a positive or a negative role, they have to fight that structural problem first, where in the US we're just such a surface level thinking public, and our entertainment is going to reflect that. So it's like, as an entertainment person, if you're big, like if you're a Taylor Swift, or if you're like a Drake or someone, I'm not really a Drake fan, but what is your role in like pushing the entertainment industry towards being less surface level thinking? And after that, it's like, as a public, I mean, what are we doing to make sure that the art that we focus on is closer to, more conscious level stuff, things that are less bubblegum, surface level stupid. But yeah, it's tough. It's very ingrained in America where we are already. It'd be tough to change all that.
I do want to ask Pedro. Go ahead, Brooks, and then I want to ask Pedro a question, and you guys can pick up.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention how, it seems like as we all been inside because of quarantine and whatnot, people are noticeably not taking things for face value. I've seen it. People are critiquing, celebrities for the amount of money that they donate to certain causes or organizations, whatever it may be. They're not giving them the benefit of the doubt like they used to. People are more critical and thinking beyond just like the surface level thing. I agree that we don't think as critically as we should. I think we're getting to a point where we are thinking about it, especially people our age, people in their 20s, late 20s, whatever it may be.
So
people our age are being negatively impacted by the capitalism. So I mean, you look at these celebrities giving money, and we realize that that's not like the solution for everything anymore. You can't you can't throw money at what's happening in America right now.
Exactly.
So Pedro, you're a big Drake fan. How much of a responsibility does someone as big as him have on educating himself about what's happening and then influencing society that way? Like, should he be going to the streets and understanding the struggles of people like in Flint, Michigan, or the people in Detroit, or people living in Compton, or any of these other poor neighborhoods, asking them questions? How much of a responsibility does he have?
I'll say this, man. As far as him educating himself, he doesn't really necessarily have to go out there, but I mean, it definitely helps for him to see with his own eyes. And he's been in a couple of places. He's in the hood every now and then. I can't say he's not in there, because there's been videos of him in Compton. There's been videos of him in Marcy Projects where Jay-Z came up. So and he like embraced those people and like had conversations with everybody down there, showed his face, and he had like, so just off that alone, we see he's doing that, right? But that's just what we see. He needs to be doing his research outside, like learn more about everything else. Don't not just current stuff, but past stuff as well.
He's rich. I'm wondering how much they really give a shit. Like, this could all just be marketing.
As far as Drake, he should educate himself, but why? Well, he probably not, is because it makes no difference financially for him, because what Drake's next move is what's good for Drake. And I'm not saying that Drake doesn't care about what's going on, but I guarantee you he cares more about Drake than he does about anything else. So, and that goes for most other guys that have that much power and money like him. And one super interesting thing that I heard Dave Chappelle say is this about speaking on certain situations, right? He was saying, people always say, where are the celebrities and stuff like that, me included, right? Like saying Drake did.
Where is Ja Rule?
Yes, and
Yeah.
so nobody cares about what these people got to say right now. It's only about what they're doing, right? So whatever he's doing behind closed doors, we will find out in the next, or maybe we'll find out, but maybe we won't. But as far as him posting on social media to show awareness, I guess it's really not the end all be all as long as he's at least educated himself. But Drake is going to do what's best for Drake, and that's really my best assessment to that.
Could I bounce off of that? I'm so sorry to jump in front of you, Brooks. I think that these are two parallels that are extremely interesting. Should Drake learn more? Yeah, he should, but it's not about him. That's what I was talking about before. The movement, you should always push it towards what it's about, the people, the activists. And one of the things that I liked about what Dave Chappelle did in his recent stand-up, I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head. What is it, like 840? Yeah, 847. He mentions the names of people that have... Anyways, what I'm trying to say is Dave Chappelle, he did one of these things where he's just like, this ain't about me. I don't know who cares about what Dave Chappelle has to say about this moment. And it's like, I don't think that even Dave Chappelle realized how profound that was. It's like, this is a man that is so good, so morally just, because he knows off the top of the dome, like, he's not a philosopher or anything. And I'm not saying that Dave Chappelle isn't smart. I would love to have a conversation with Dave Chappelle. But he immediately knew that it's not about him. And like, that's what I love about what I heard from that. I don't even know if you can call it stand-up, right? Dave Chappelle immediately was just like, this isn't about me. And yeah, I would love Drake to learn more about the best ways to handle race relations. Ariana Grande, Jay-Z, all y'all do the same. Keep learning as much as you want to learn about. Tell people on Instagram, but I'm saying, like, that's not the important part. The important part would be like, hey man, this isn't about me. Over there, like, America's been a certain way for a while, and it's happening, and what's happening right now is happening for a reason, and it's because of this, and it's not about us. I would love to see that from every celebrity. Stop throwing your money, but point your finger at who we should be paying attention to. That's what I would love, that celebrities are just like, this ain't about us. If you're thinking about us right now and looking to us for wisdom, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, normalize anonymous donations. That's another thing. Stop telling everybody.
For sure. And I just want to pick up the Dave Chappelle thing too. He criticized Don Lemon and these CNN people for saying, why aren't celebrities coming out? And he himself said, as great as it would be for me to be out there and supporting my voice, making people aware, it's not about him. There's people that's been doing the groundwork for years and weeks and months, whatever it may be. Pedro.
My bad. Yeah, my phone bugged out. Sorry.
What was I? Yeah, people have been doing the groundwork for years, and we need to rely on them, not on celebrities. And we have to think about who benefits from the chaos or whatever it may be. Think about people in the Baltimore leaders, Detroit leaders, whoever it may be. The people that are doing the groundwork. That's who matters. Talk to them and learn from them instead of celebrities.
I think something that people need to learn and understand is that a lot of these people are not only just not educated because they're out of touch with a lot of stuff, they're also influenced so much by the talent agencies that represent them. And these talent agencies like the ACA and the CDC, they have an corporate interest that conflicts with the interests of the people who are suffering right now, the people who are protesting right now. So there's going to be some misguidance there. So what do you guys think about people waking up to these talent agencies? What do you think celebrities should do with talent agencies? Should they start separating themselves more from it? And how can we let celebrities know about the detriments of working so closely with these corporations, like not just talent agencies, but also working so closely with other oppressive corporations? Like the first thing that comes to mind to me is like Nike or other corporations that have conflicting interests to the working class people.
Amazon especially.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, one of the main things that these industries can start doing is start putting pressure on their labels and saying, look, if you guys don't support the cause that I support, I'm leaving and I'm going to start my own label, or I'm going to go to that label that also supports and shares common beliefs as myself. And then an example of that would be The Weeknd, one of the biggest artists in the world. He recently came out, as I mentioned earlier, and he was putting the pressure on his label, which eventually came out and put a post out, put donations and whatnot. And people may say that that's kind of forced, but he's using his influence to get people in the corporate America to start putting up or shutting up at least a little bit. So we need more artists that are at least on his level to start doing that, aka Drake. Start telling Cash Money or whatever Cash Money is signed to. I think it's either Universal or Warner. Like, same thing. I'm leaving if you guys don't support this cause. But again, like I said, it's a business thing most of the time for these guys. It's hard to tell who really cares and who doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's a case where a lot of these people know where their bread is buttered. I also kind of wonder about the level of politicality that is, what would you say, inherently not there when things are just fine for you because you're already rich. Like, that's why I think it's so important that any rich person that has a spotlight put on them and, like, you know, people are looking up to them with expectant eyes. It's not about us. Like, that's why I think it's so important, because it really isn't about them. I mean, they have no personal stake in how society changes. In fact, they probably have a better stake in trying to push things to keep remaining more and more the same. They know where their bread is buttered, and I mean, you're telling artists to talk to their labels, and you're telling their labels to talk to the corporations that own them. This is a very corporate society, and yeah, I wouldn't want to stake much, if anything, on like what celebrities can do for us. The same way that at this point in 2020, I wouldn't stake so much on what our politicians can do for us. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative or anything. Don't get me wrong. I would love good things to happen, but these aren't our saviors, folks. Like, these aren't the people that are going to dig us out of the ditch. We have to stop digging down ourselves by fighting with each other, because, I mean, that's what's happening, right? Like, Republicans are getting poor white people to fight minorities that, you know, Democrats are doing the same thing, you know, for them on. We're pointing the people at each other, and we're all digging down. And I unfortunately do not see a movement in the United States of America where we get our shit together and stop arguing about, you know, tearing down statues and start arguing about why we're even having that discussion.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. You know, it's hard to know who's pandering and who's not, who's genuine and who's not. But I agree with not relying on corporations, not relying on anybody but ourselves to actually do the work and continue to, you know, raise consciousness, make people think more critically. Because we can't rely on anybody but ourselves to make these changes or force these changes and make change possible.
The only hero in your story is you. You're the only one that has control in your life. Don't sit and wait for some outside hero to come and save you. No, that hero that'll save you is you. And I want to bring up an example of what not to do. And you guys can also pick up on what I just said here. Do not do what, like, that guy from Breaking Bad, I forgot the actor's name, and like some other white celebrities were like, I was not aware of how much white privilege I had. This is just wrong. Police brutality is wrong. Like, that was just ridiculous. And I'm not sure if you guys saw that ad or what's up?
I mean, Bryan Cranston and that other dude.
The guy who played Jesse. And
Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Aaron Paul and some other white celebrities, like the girl from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and like some other privileged white people are like just talking about their feelings about police brutality, and they're just like, I have white privilege.
And hey, Franco, I wanted to jump on what you're saying, because you're advocating two people to be their own heroes, but also I would say, like, I mean, see who you can unplug from the Matrix, because aside from this particular conversation that we're having, a conversation of protests that are somewhat wedded in kind of like a racial American issue, but I think at this point it's like bigger. It's like, I mean, that's the big goal. Well, the big goal is trying to unplug people from the Matrix. Like, I mean, tell your parents to stop watching corporate media. If you got friends that are watching Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, try to get them away from that as much as possible. Like, yeah, you can just worry about yourself and do you and do what's right for you and your family, but you can make a positive difference. I mean, like, us four on here, we're not just like dilly-dallying. We all have fucking day jobs. Like, I am in the fucking military. I don't speak for the military, but I do this because I find it important to me, not because it's like making me so much cake on the side.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw one thing out there about as far as what entertainers can do. I know LeBron James is obviously, well, I guess you can consider LeBron James in the entertainment industry because he has like his own media company, and I mean does that count for like as an entertainment?
He's totally an entertainer.
Yeah.
So there we go. So
player. You know, he's a pro athlete. He entertains.
So LeBron James, right, is a prime example of it's not just about donating towards these organizations. It's also creating jobs for Black people too. LeBron James just got funded $100 million to invest in his media business with Rich Paul. That's not Rich Paul. That's Maverick Carter with Maverick Carter. And here they are putting. I think it's out of their company. They have 63% are African American. So that's one other way that these entertainers, they got enough money and they got enough power and connections in their specific lanes that they can make these kind of jobs for certain people. It's not only just the donations, but that's a suggestion for other people that probably have maybe not LeBron money, but some type of power and influence to do something like that.
Right.
Shout out to the I Promise School too.
Shout out to LeBron. He's putting kids in classrooms. He is getting people jobs in areas that they might get denied elsewhere in bigger corporate. That it's like I said, not only the donations, and the donation petitions are, they're definitely helpful to the cause. But here he goes is another thing that you can do to actually create real opportunity.
All right. So does someone want to bounce off of what Pedro just said?
I think it'd be nice if we didn't have to look to celebrities to be benefactors. I think, and it's tough because I can't look at every single country, and I can't think of like too much perfect examples. I can only look to really like the Scandinavian nations, right? Where I think, unfortunately and fortunately, they are homogenous, so it's kind of easier for them to think of how they want a society to look and to enact it. But I really do wish that we could all see ourselves as kind of like the same species, which I don't think we do in America, and enact positive change that just makes sense for the future of a nation. Like, we're destroying ourselves because we're avoiding doing things that would be better for all of us, which is wild. And expecting rich people to usher in a better world, I think, is unfortunate because it's kind of like acquiescing. It's kind of like acknowledging that political power in America is just so useless and anemic. Like, everyone knows that the Democrats and Republicans are terrible, so we're looking to LeBron James to start the good schools. Yeah, it's really sad. And shout out to LeBron James. If he's
so much.
Yeah, they can only do so much. And if you are a rich person and you're enacting good in life, shout out to you, man. Like, I have no problem with rich people. It's just like, I have a problem with how corporate America is. And I feel like the structure, the way that it's set up, has these downstream effects that make it so that people like me, I take these subjects very seriously. I have a master's in politics. And I hate feeling like America's getting what's coming to it, and I actually don't really have that much hope for things to change positively for the future. Like, I don't like feeling this way. I'm not an asshole. I don't want things to get worse. I kind of got on my high horse and forgot the question and what I was bouncing off of. But as you can see, I really felt that in my soul.
Yeah.
And that's what we like on Hear Me Out podcast, Frank Analysis. We enjoyed it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. I think we can conclude there. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section. What do entertainers have a responsibility in what's happening right now, or do people just need to realize that to stop hoping for them to be a guide and realize that the true hero in your story is you? Thank you guys so much for watching.
Could I add one last thing?
Go ahead.
Could I add one last thing to Silva? I want to talk about 3 musicians, The Weeknd, Drake, and Well, so first, I like Pusha T more than Drake. Secondly, if you haven't listened to House of Balloons, but you've listened to The Weeknd's more recent stuff, you should listen to House of Balloons. And my favorite artist is Kendrick Lamar, and I grew up listening to hip hop, so it's just like, yeah. But I just want to say that to you.
What's your thought on before we go here? How was your reaction when you saw Pusha T just annihilate Drake in the summer of 2018?
I was laughing.
Oh,
Not only was it a good diss, it was a great song.
Annihilated. I love Drake, right? But once Drake got that story of Adidan, the picture of him with the black face, it was over. It was so over, bro. You are hiding a child. It was over, man.
I think Exodus might be better than Ether.
Yeah.
He took a massive there.
I think we should talk about that, about who our favorite hip hop artists are.
As soon as this is
Yeah.
done, I'm gonna listen to Exodus and Ether and think about what I think is best.
Man,
Alright.
Ether's that's just like a cultural classic right there. Like that's a verb now. You got ether. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Think about
The way Drake did Meek Mill, Pusha T did right back to Drake. It was incredible, man. I love Drake to death, but that right there was the moment in hip hop, and I was just like, wow, Pusha T just knocked his ass out, man.
yes, sir.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully someone ethers the corporate system that we live in, the corporate
I
political
love it.
system that we live in. Immortal Technique, Ari the Rugged Man, they try to do that. So if you want to listen to some political rappers, those are some. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to stay informed, and have a great day.
If you liked the video, listen carefully. To the bottom right, there's a like button. Hit that. Further to the right is a red subscribe button. Hit that as well. And hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the latest in sports, pop culture, and progressive politics.